If you talk about work-life balance as a 22-year-old man, you're hanging around with the wrong people. That gnawing feeling when you realize you've outgrown your social circle isn't loneliness. It's your ambition finally speaking louder than your need to belong.
And there's a narrative that we should not criticize ourselves. We should not say the things that we could have done better. But I believe that that voice isn't an insecurity. I think it's a version that wants you to chase your potential. And so I think not judging the criticism, but accepting the criticism, I think those are the two separate things. And I think that's what unlocks the potential while making it somewhat palatable along the way.
Yeah. Well, it's uncomfortable, right? You position an ideal. You compare yourself to that ideal. You find yourself lacking. There is pain in that. So you can either sit with the pain or you can judge the pain. You mentioned this earlier on. I call it second order emotions. Mark Manson calls them meta emotions. So feeling frustrated at your anxiousness and then feeling bitter about your frustration at your anxiousness and then feeling resentful about your bitterness at your frustration about your anxiousness. And you don't have all that much control over the first ones. Emotions are going to come and go. You have a lot of control over the ones that come after that.
Did you tell me the story of Buddha in the second era?
No.
Oh, it's great. So the Buddha was trying to teach a lesson, and he says, if I shoot you with an arrow, does it hurt? And, the student was like, yes, it would be hurtful, or like, that would suck. And so he says, okay, if I were to shoot you with this, a second arrow in the same spot after the first arrow, would that hurt? And he said, yes. He said, the first arrow is life. He said, you can't avoid the first arrow. He said, but the second arrow is you. And that one you can avoid. And so suffering is a constant. That's a fixed cost of life. We're going to have downsides. We're going to have bad seasons, bad moments, bad days. But I think a great rule to live by is like, only suffer once. Like, great. I mean, my God, I think if everyone only suffered once, like just because I like tiny little monikers that I can remind myself in the moment of, okay, this happened. I will only suffer this one time. I will not relive this moment over and over again. I will not judge myself for not, behaving the way I would have liked to have behaved. I will not judge the version of me that I should have been at this moment. And around you go.
It's like an infinite regress of self-castigation. Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, I want memory dividends, not memory liabilities.
Yeah. If you talk about work-life balance as a 22-year-old man, you're hanging out with the wrong people. This goes back to the ask them what they did when they were at your stage, not what they do now thing. And look, to hear you get within the same fucking universe as something approximating work-life balance.
Okay, let's calm down here.
Don't get too ahead of yourself. I mean, that's a really sort of cosmic change for you in your direction. And as somebody who cares about your well-being, it's one that I've kind of been hoping for at some point, a bit of humanity to come through. To prove, and I said it earlier on, dude, it proves that there is a human inside of there. I'm being serious. And I think it does a bunch of things. It shows that somebody who is very staunch about an opinion can change their mind, which I think is something that's very admirable. I think it is significantly more relatable to most people with a more common level of work ethic, desire for life outside of it, maybe a broader number of things than 3. On the post-it note. And I think, selfishly for me, it gives us more to relate about because I have more to relate about someone who's trying to navigate what life looks like outside of work. But if
There's
you are
life outside of work,
if you are, you're slowly getting that. You notice that as of yet, I haven't had some sort of Cassandra complex about, I think I'll have mentioned if we go back to episode 3 at 4 minutes and 55. I told you so. But it might not be okay to work your life away, but it is okay to work your 20s away. And so many of the realizations that we have arrived at are only really accessible to you because you've closed the loop of all of the ones that you needed to first.
So I want to aggressively comment on this. So everything I said up to this point, I take it all but out. No, I want to comment on this because I think it's meaningful. So number one, so I would actually challenge a couple of the things you said. The biggest one being like the just shoulds in general, which is like you shouldn't work your life away. You should work away your 20s. My opinion, do whatever the fuck you want. If you have a goal, then there will be ways that will increase or decrease the likelihood you achieve them. And so having simultaneous goals dramatically decreases the likelihood of accomplishing any of them. And it's typically easier to accomplish goals in sequence or chronologically rather than in parallel.
Yep.
And so if I were to say, hey, what are the three goals you have? And you say 1, 2, 3, and I say, okay, which of these 3 goals is the most important? Well, then let's work on that one first. And does that one goal allow us to, does it decrease the failure rate of the other 2 goals, which then makes it the most important goal overall?
Sometimes they are dependent on each other. I'm going to get in shape, get rich, then find a wife.
Yeah.
As opposed to I'm going to find a wife, then try and get rich, then try and get in shape.
Yeah. You'll get dramatically higher quality talent, for sure. But maybe she'll just love you for you. Who knows? We can all hope. Regardless. Now, most 22-year-olds, irrespective of domain, that's why I have these if you seek to be good at something, then you have a tremendous deficit in experience and repetitions that people who are ahead of you or who have achieved what you want to achieve have over you. And so the only thing that you have, now you do have an advantage. You have a couple. Number one is that you will have more energy than they do, period. And so your ability to work long hours, sleep less, and maintain high levels of focus while maintaining peak fluid intelligence is at its peak. Use it. The second thing is that you have nothing to lose. And so the thing is people always fear being the new entrant. But when you have nothing to lose or you have nothing going for you, it also means you have nothing to lose. And that means that every position on the board always has an advantage because anybody who has achieved this big thing that you have was also once a 22-year-old who had nothing going for them.
And you're at 0.
Right.
You can't get worse than this.
You have unlimited shots on goal. And so not taking the shot is like saying, life, I don't want to scratch off this lottery ticket, but the lottery ticket's free.
Yep.
Why would you not scratch it off and try it? And so the first advantage is you've got energy. Next advantage is you have nothing to lose. Third is you also have time and you have very low responsibilities. And so you have not only the ability to put all of yourself into something, you also have no circumstantial things that are preventing you. Now, if someone is listening to this and like, I'm 25 and I've got a kid, cool. And which thing do you want to sacrifice? And I'm not saying sacrifice your kid, but I'm saying like, you're going to have some traits. Now, I take things to the logical extreme and say, okay, well, Bezos has kids, Bill Gates has kids, Warren Buffett has kids. This is just if you wanted to be, business successful. It's like, okay, well then that can't be a reason that I can't be successful. And so whatever reasons that we usually give ourselves in the beginning for why we can't achieve something, you can almost always find not only just someone, but someone who's achieved world-class levels of success with worse conditions than you currently have, which then means it's absolutely possible. And then the only thing that it takes to get there is work. And so, I just wanted to be very clear that if you are if you're 22 years old, like the world does not hate you. You're just not good at anything yet.
I felt so jilted by the world as a young business person because we were stepping into these meetings with 40 and 50-year-old nightclub leisure company owners, and me and my business partner were 19 or 20, and we were saying, hey, nice club, shame no one's fucking in it. And we can put people in. And the fact that someone twice our age or 3 times our age was sat opposite the table from us and didn't give me respect made me really discouraged. So I'm like, you need me. You need people. I have people. Why can you not see this? Why can you not see the value in what it is that I do? And it feels like a personal curse, some sort of cosmic judgment that's just bestowed on you. Oh, it's because of my failing. It's because they are being mean to me. Another 20-year-old business person who would have went in there, they would have been given the respect that they deserve. It's like, no. If you're young, everybody in business is going to be skeptical of you. Now, this is changing a little bit. I think the rise of the wonder kid, the Elon Musk Doge degen world, I think maybe is leverage. There's that kid that made the AI app that takes photos of food and it does calories, and he's making like $1 million a month or something. He's 16, 17, 18. He just vibe coded his way to like multi-millionaire status in his teenage years. Okay, we're starting to realize that ideas get unlocked through technology and through youth and through insight, but there is still an industrial revolution era mindset, which is this craft of some type will take a lot of time for you to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And by virtue of that, people are skeptical of young guys and young girls. And you're right. If you're 22 and starting out in business, the world doesn't hate you. They're just skeptical of you.
You know, what's interesting is what you talked about earlier about like the low risk path. Like you look at all these things. I think you become the exception by being the rule. And so I'll unpack that. But like we highlight the 16-year-old, right? We don't nearly as much highlight the 30-year-old who's crushing it, because it's like, well, obviously he worked for a decade and then he got there. It's like, but if you work for a decade and they get you there, you are exceptional. You are already at the very ends of achievement, and you did it by following the rule, which is
just
that,
maybe not unpredicted.
Yes, it's not a surprise. And so I think people conflate surprises with exceptional, and it is exceptional in that it's rare, not necessarily that it's the only kind of rare.
Correct.
It's rare that it was a lottery ticket more than, and of course, and I want to be clear, maybe he's 16 or 17, and like Mr. Beast is a perfect example of this. He's 25, I think now, something like that, 25,
Jesus
26.
Christ.
I know, we're getting old. And so the thing is that he started, I think, making videos when he was 12, right? And so it's like, oh, well, he's got 13 years in just one game, spending every hour of every day for that 13 years doing it. And so some of these kind of younger guys, and I think part of this is just proliferation of information, and access to information has just gotten, bountiful for everyone. And with AI, it's been easier for people with fewer resources that to start actual things, right? The cost of entry financially is significantly lower, and the access to information is basically almost zero. And so when you combine those things, if you're 14 years old, you have high fluid intelligence, like your brain's working. So if you're on the younger side, like there is no rule that says that an app designed by a 14-year-old is in some way or any way valued less by a customer than an app that's developed by a 40-year-old. There's no rule. And so I will also push back on one thing, which is if you continue to feel like people don't take you seriously, if you continue to feel like people don't take you seriously because of your age, it might be not because of your age. It might be because you suck. And I think that is a significantly harder and more probable pill that you'll have to swallow.
Well, especially given that self-assessment and reflection is difficult to do when you're young. Your own ability to understand where your strengths and weaknesses lie, it's hard, full stop.
Sure.
It's really hard if you're 20, right? Or 22.